Right. So, Safia, do we have some questions for our wonderful guests?
Yes, I do. So I'm going to start with Jenna. So yeah, I have a question for Jenna. So someone in the chat asked, is your organization just for is your organization just for science-based topics, or can it be related to social issues experts too?
Well, really fun answer in the no, it isn't just for science. Exactly right. It is for kind of any subject that has lived experience or expertise. So our events tend to touch on particular themes because you kind of have to start somewhere. So they tend to be around our funders. So our funders are Joseph Rowntree Foundation, UKRI, Wellcome Trust, various like kind of social justice. Also, it's just not quite the word. I suppose like concern about the planet in various ways. So those are the subjects we look at, like poverty, migration, etc. in events. But in terms of projects, there's nothing we would not be interested in.
Well, that sounds great. Thanks. I'm pretty sure a lot of indie developers will be very happy to hear that. Okay, so now I have a question for Smart. So the question is, as a person with dyslexia, I was also hoping to make games. I would like to know what skills you think you can bring to the sorry, okay. Oh, I don't know my English. I would like to
English
know.
Is great, don't worry.
I would like to know what skills do you think you can bring to your team that are benefited by your dyslexia?
That's a really great question. Thank you for asking that. Whoever asked the question. Yeah, it's funny because this is a thought process that has been, I think, in the creative industry overall, people with different types of neurodiversity. I mean, in general, I should say that most people who are creative, they've done scientific research shows that a lot of the people who have creative tendencies or have creative skills are somewhere on the spectrum, but obviously people who are maybe dyslexic or autistic are a little bit further up, and so I think it's important to embrace your creativity. The skills you have, for myself, I'll use that as an example. Problem solving is something that I'm very good at, and ideas. So if you're somebody that thinks in that way, visual, I'm also a very visual person. Excuse me. Tests have shown in the past that practical things, like for myself, working practically works well. The theory stuff kind of clicked a lot later for me. It took years of practice and just a lot of support and help. So if you're working for a company, I think those are some of the things you can look at, the things that you're best at. If you're going to put that on a CV or resume, if you're in the US, and put your best foot forward with that. But those skills, I think, are important because I believe most developers, most studios are always looking for people who are team players and people that are good at solving problems.
Well, thanks for the answer. I'm sure it's going to give a lot of hope to a lot of neurodivergent people listening. Thank you. So now I have a question for Carla. So it's a question from Lynn. First, they say great talk, thanks. And then, do you find any challenges working in a serious games context in relation to people's preconception about video games, whether it's the clients or the players?
Yes, absolutely. It's very challenging because there's sort of two preconceptions that we face. So the first is often our clients in the healthcare industry, and I'm sure a lot of people have experienced this on the call, have a lack of trust in games and don't see games as a credible platform for education. So we have to do a lot there to educate our clients. And then the other side of the coin is because of the design principles that we have to use to meet compliance regulations for some of these clients, it can often impact the gameplay and the enjoyment factor, which therefore can disseminate the message that serious games aren't as fun or aren't games, etc. So yeah, it's like double whammy challenging, but I am seeing really exciting developments, like especially with biomes, collectives work as well. So it's a fun challenge, I think.
That's very, very kind of you, Kyle. That was awesome. George, I've got one for you. As a fellow dad, well, thanks for the awesome presentation, awesome babies. I did not see that coming. That was really good. And I know you've got a wee one who is possibly needing to be put to sleep soon. But I was going to ask, in terms of being a father, have you found that it's inspired you creatively, specifically, like more than anything else, or is it just another thing, or is it a bit different? Because I certainly felt that it's a different level of creativity, I would argue.
Yeah, it's amazing, because for me, it's a way of relearning playing and relearning, actually relearning to communicate, relearning to observe, and you do that in tandem with your little one, right? It's this really, and it's also like, and for me, one of this mind-blowing experiences was because I kept sort of like, as soon as I realized that my kid had reflexes, like, you know, when they start to sort of like, when you start to tickle them, they start to giggle. I was like, oh, this is exciting. So every day I would tickle and also pull faces, but the kid would only laugh when I tickled, never when I pulled faces. And then I would do that every day. And then one day I pulled faces and I got a giggle without tickling. So somewhere in the last 24 hours, some synapses, some brain stuff has happened that made my son go like, yeah, okay, no, I don't have to be tickled anymore. I find you funny. And that moment, as simple, like it was a simple moment, but for me, that was just totally mind-blowing. You know, that was, and every day for me is another journey. And I'm so lucky that I can work from home, because being able to be there when you get to do this, when you both try to figure out how the world works, it's hilarious. Like you and the baby, you're both trying to figure each other out, and it's amazing. It's one of the best co-op plays I've ever had so far. So yeah,
awesome. Thank you, George. And it's and I don't know if it's because we're all games designers here, or we think that way, but there's just something about that kind of game design approach to life and trying to understand people. And, you know, Carla, your work and all that kind of stuff. It's fascinating how we try to kind of get the best out of people. And, you know, same with you, Smart, how you bring a lot of hope to the kind of work you do. It's really brilliant. Right, guys, thank you so much. We're going to move on to our next speakers. So please enjoy the rest of the stream. Thank you.